Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I wanted just to say thank you to everybody that has watched my videos and who has supported me. I'm kind of going in a debate back and forth currently as if I want to keep doing YouTube videos. When I think of doing a video, it kind of just like weighs down on me. I think it's just because the goal and the purpose of me doing YouTube videos was to obviously make some income off of it, but I just feel like it's a lot harder to say it than to actually do it. There's a lot of things that go into it. So lately I've just been feeling really discouraged with doing YouTube videos, but nonetheless I just want to thank you girls and guys who always come back and have subscribed and who have commented and been active. It's very few of you guys, but I still really appreciate it. So for today's video, I wanted to touch up on a topic that is kind of sensitive. Probably after this, I may take a time to just kind of get my head together, because I just feel like right now, a lot of it has to do with what I've just lived the past few months. I had my father-in-law pass away in May. And then right now, currently last week, I went through a miscarriage, so I just feel like I'm kind of all over the place. So that has a lot to do with why I'm going to stop doing YouTube videos for a while, or probably even permanently. But before we jump to the gun and come to a conclusion on that, I do want to touch on the subject, my miscarriage, because I wanted to talk to someone that had went through it. I did of course have my friends and my parents, but it's not the same because they didn't live the experience, and I want to share things from my personal perspective. So if this is something that you're interested in hearing about and my takeaway from it, then I do encourage you to watch this video. Aquí está lo del ultrasonido, mi amor. No pasa nada, no hay nada. Ahorita nomás es como la imagen de donde está el bebé. Yeah, ese es el bebé ahí. Hazlo otra vez. ¡Ay! Vas a quebrar mi traila.
¿Cuál es?
Es esta bolita allí, es donde está creciendo el bebé aquí adentro. Todavía no es el bebé porque está muy chiquito, pero este es el huevito y ahí es donde está creciendo adentro.
Mío.
Yes, honey. Yosh. Okay, so now I'm back, and now that I have my iced coffee, y'all, because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I have my iced coffee, and these glasses, they're so cute. I found them on Amazon. On Walmart actually. I found them on Walmart online. And my mom got me them as a gift when I moved into my apartment. So yeah, I love them. But pretty much, guys, as I was saying, I've just been having a lot of mixed emotions, and I think a big part of it is, like I said, what I just lived through. I lost my in-law, and that shit was so hard. So that really took a hit to my head and my heart and stuff. And now I just lived through this miscarriage, which was also really hard. I could not be at a more vulnerable stage than what I am right now. I feel like I'm just so sensitive to everything. And this was so recent. So on August 16th, 2021, I found out that I was pregnant, and I brought the pregnancy test home and I took it, and I got 2 of the red lines. But one of the lines was very faded. I waited 2 days and I went to go get my blood drawn to see if I was pregnant, and yes, a test came back that I was positive. And then after that, I waited another 2 days and I went to go do an ultrasound because I just wanted to know how many weeks I was in. And I went and I got the ultrasound done, and the lady was like, yep, you're 5 weeks in, you're definitely pregnant. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't break the news to all of my family for the very same reason that I've always heard that the first 3 months are always the most sensitive months. So I didn't really want to get all of my family too excited or too hyped up, because I just didn't want to get my hopes up. So I told literally my closest friends and family, and I was just feeding off of their energy, which was making me happy, which was making the experience positive. But internally I was drowning. I was I can't believe I'm having this baby, because I'm not financially stable. I feel like I haven't reached my goals. I'm not in a neighborhood that I feel like I can be safe with a newborn. I'm away from my family. It was just really sad. Everything going through my mind was just sucking, because on top of that, If you girls or you guys have been following me, you know that I'm in the immigration process for my husband to become a resident. On top of that, we want to buy a home. On top of that, we currently still have the hope of having our wedding, but we don't know if that's going to happen because we want to prioritize a home. So there were so many things going on in me, and I felt so guilty and so ashamed for being like, damn, like, fuck, I don't want this kid. Like, I just don't want it. Like I just didn't, like, it was so messed up of me and corrupted of me to say that I just didn't want the baby. But I want to be honest with you, and if you went through this, or, you know, I'm being honest, like, if you're like me and you're like, okay, I know I want to be a mom one day, but I just know it's not soon. These are probably some of the things that may go through your head, or you may be like, oh my god, like, I'm so excited, this is such a blessing, this is the perfect timing. But for me, nothing felt right internally. Like, it all felt so wrong, and it changed my mind completely on what I think of abortions, what I think of moms, what I think of everything when it comes to life, a second life for somebody else. Because when I found out that I had the miscarriage, I was broken. Like, I was devastated because, like I said, I had been feeding off of the happiness that everyone around me was having, and I was starting to accept the fact that, hey, I'm having a little one, like, let's start planning for, like, a registry, let's start planning a baby shower, let's start doing, like, the little things that we could do now. And I was kind of devastated and annoyed because I was like, damn, like, I can't believe this happened. But when it did happen, I felt like a relief at the same time. Like, I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy that it didn't happen, because God knew it was not my time. I was not ready. Like, I knew that so much in me that I didn't want it right now. And I feel like I've always said God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes those things can be in a way where you're like, yeah, but that's not a good thing, like, that's a bad thing, like, how could that be godly? Yeah, you're right, or maybe you're wrong, like, we don't know. But at the end of the day, like, the timing and the way things structured around it happened so perfectly that I'm okay with how it happened, and I'm okay that it happened. Because also what I was going through physically, it was draining me, and I had even thought to myself, wow, this is what it's like to have a child, and this is what my experience for 9 months is gonna be like. I'm gonna be devastated. I'm gonna be so, like, miserable in this time that's supposed to be very beautiful and joyous. Like, I didn't want that for me. So pretty much after I had the ultrasound, a few days later, I mean, I was already bleeding throughout this process, but this few days later I was bleeding heavily. Like, that same day I came home and I was so stressed out because my husband was like, we're having company over, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I just got off of work, I have to go do this ultrasound, and then on top of that we have company, like, I haven't prepared anything. Like, I was so stressed. I was pretty active and I was bleeding, so that's why I had went to the doctors, because I was very scared. I was like, why am I bleeding, but I'm also late on my period? Like, things don't make sense. Something's off. That day I came home, like I said, we had a few friends over. I came in early because I was just not feeling it. Like, I was just like, oh my god, I just don't want to be around anybody. I just want to be by myself, alone. So I came back inside, and like around, I didn't see exactly the time that it was, but during midnight I had like the worst stomach pain and back pain ever. Like, it was so bad. I felt like somebody was literally like stabbing both my back and my stomach, and I was just like, oh my god. And I got up, I used the restroom, and nothing but blood came out. Like, it was just blood. And at this point I was really scared, because I was like, okay, if the doctor's telling me that, and Google, like, I was reading on Google, of course, like, who doesn't Google things to see what's going on, and it was saying that, like, blood usually during the first weeks can be typically normal. But I was just like, I don't think this is normal. Like, I think this is too much, because on top of that, like I said, I was having a lot of pain. So the next day I kind of was like scared, because I'm like, shit, what's going on? I think something's not right. This all happened within 4 days, so it was so quick, so fast. Saturday comes, I was speaking to my mother-in-law, and she's like, hey, I think you should just really go to the hospital. Like, something just doesn't seem right. Like, I just feel like that's a little too exaggerated what you're telling me. So I'm like, let me go to the hospital. My husband was out of town. He was doing the rodeo show, so I went through this all by myself. And I went to the hospital. I checked myself in at the ER. pretty much I had told them like, hey, this is what's going on. I don't think it's normal. I've had these pains. They did a blood work, which I'm still like suffering from that blood work. You guys can see they like shot me up. And so finally after like 4 hours, they were like, okay, this lady comes in, she's like, it looks like you had a miscarriage, this and that. I was so devastated, but at the same time I was so happy, and I was like relieved, sad, and pain, like everything. I broke the news to my husband, I broke the news to my mom, I broke the news to like the people that I had told, because I was just like, damn, I've told these people and they were really excited. Now it's not that, so what the hell. The only thing that really got me through it was like what my husband had told me, like, you know what, like it's okay. I was more scared to tell my husband because he really wants a baby. Like he's so good with kids and he really wants one. And I was like, shit, like I feel like I'm gonna like ruin it for him. And also like my mom, she was mad at first. She was like, oh my god, it's like pretty much she didn't tell me it's your fault, but she's like, you should have gone earlier to the doctors, you should have taken medicine. And in my head I'm like, what can I possibly do to avoid a miscarriage? Like I don't think there's anything that you can really do when it's your first time and you don't even know what's going on. You're just kind of going with what the doctors are telling you. So then I just like hung up on her because I was like, I can't do this. Like in that moment I was so like, my head was like spinning like in circles. Like I couldn't think, I couldn't focus, I couldn't like really concentrate on anything. So I hung up on her, let her kind of get herself together. And what pulled me through that day was that my husband was just like, you know, it's okay, like first things first, like you need to be healthy, like I'm by your side no matter what, like we're gonna get through this, we're gonna give it another try. And I told him absolutely yes, like we're gonna get through it, like we're gonna work on it again. And no lie, like hearing his message, I heard it like 4 or 5 times. I replayed it because I just loved those words that he was telling me. This is exactly why he deserves to be a dad and why I want to be a mom, because he makes it so much more easier like on me because I have his emotional support. So I'm like, okay, I know I want this baby. And on top of that, with my husband being the way he is, I'm like, I want to be a mom. I just don't want to be a mom right now. And when I went to go see the OBGYN, she pretty much was telling me, hey, like it's okay for you to feel like the way you felt. Like she was so non-judgmental, and I feel like that's what we need when we're going through something like this. Like someone that's not going to judge you, because there's people that really want this baby and they're really hoping to have that baby, and they need that person that they can vent to and be like, I really wanted this kid, like how this have happened to me. But then there's some of us that are on the other side that we're like, oh, like this is the scariest thing I'm living right now, I need help. It's not selfish to want the best for somebody else and yourself. Like that was something that I realized, and that the doctor made me realize. She's like, there's no point in bringing a child to life if you can't give it a good life, if you can't give it love, if you can't give it that attention, if you can't give it what a child needs. And other people, they can be happy for you or they can be sad for you, but they're not the ones dealing with it. So for me, it was a big takeaway what this doctor was telling me. And she was just like, you know what, Gabby, she's like, if you really want to be a mom, what I recommend you to do is to plan it and to not wing it. Because if you were this terrified from a surprise, just like, I think what would work best for you is to kind of take care of yourself from right now. Start taking your vitamins, your prenatal vitamins, once you feel like, okay, it's time for you to kind of have your little one. And she's like, just kind of prepare yourself mentally. And that's my story and my experience with my miscarriage. But it's just not my timing right now. There's one thing that I need to get rid of before I can add another thing to my list. And I just hope and pray to God that, like, if he gives me that privilege to be a mom, like, I'm not gonna take for granted. If you went through something that's like this, or you're living this right now, I really do hope and pray for your strength. I hope and pray for your fog in your mind to kind of clear up. And I really hope and pray that you're with people that support you and love you with your decision no matter what. And you're not a bad person if you decide that this was the best for you, or if you come to the conclusion that it was right that it happened. But just to be kind to yourself through the process, because regardless of what you conclude to, it's very mind-boggling what can happen in your mind. Like, things can get really stirred up. And put yourself first, like your health first more than anything, because I bled for like 15 days, and when this doctor was like, you cannot work out, you cannot do anything, I took that to heart. I have not worked out yet. I haven't started working out yet. As much as I want to get out of my house and like get active, I haven't done it because it really drained in me. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty drained from everything, from even making this video, because just talking about it, it just brings up so many things. But so yeah guys, thank you for supporting my YouTube channel and supporting me, regardless if you agree or don't. But I just really like the fact that I have company along the side. So yeah, that is what I have to say. I am gonna now enjoy my coffee. Yeah, I'm out. Bye.